If you chose to work on this mini lesson, then you've probably been told in your writing at some point that you should not be using first and second person pronouns. First person pronouns are the ones that refer to us personally: I, me, my, we, us, and our. Second person pronouns refer to you or your. This is a very common mistake that people make in formal writing or academic writing because they don't know how to address their audience in a more formal way. So that's kind of what we're going to look at. Our goal today, by the end of this lesson, I want you to be able to say confidently, I can use formal style when writing by avoiding first and second person pronouns. So we're going to look at a sample paragraph, and what I want you to do is you're going to open your document and pause the screencast as we go and highlight any personal pronouns that are first or second person. After we highlight them and identify them, the next step will be working on eliminating them. So the prompt for this paragraph says, who had it the worst during the Middle Ages? I can tell that this is an argument prompt because there could be somebody who disagrees with me, because I'm going to say it's most difficult for serfs. So while I read this, I want you to look at your prompt, your document, and you're highlighting any words that are you, me, my, or anything like that. During the Middle Ages, life was most difficult for serfs. As the lowest class on the medieval hierarchy, they were often treated as less than human. To begin with, you were bound to the land and were considered a criminal if you tried to leave. I see two examples of you here, so I'm going to highlight that you and then the other you. This takes away the strength of your writing when you talk to your reader like this. All right, continuing on. Out of fear of punishment, Crispin has never been outside of the border crosses that make up the boundary of Stromford. Not only that, the ruler of the land could tell you to do anything, and you had no choice. So what I'm seeing here is a pattern where the evidence statement includes the you, and then when you go and give some examples from the text, that's easy to avoid you because you're using character names. And so we've got to look at how can we avoid this you. All right, the next paragraph says, when Crispin's mother dies, John Aycliffe demands Crispin's ox as a death payment. He cannot rise up against Aycliffe. As a serf, he is not considered an accepted member of society, so the steward can treat you however he wants. So I got one more you here. In conclusion, you were mistreated by all the social classes if you were a serf in the feudal system. So I see two more U's in my conclusion. So if you did this right, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 U's highlighted. So what we're going to do now is go back to these and see, well, what could we do in place of you? So if I look at this sentence, I want to think back to who is the subject that you is referring to. To begin with, you were bound to the land. Well, that's talking about serfs. So maybe I just want to say that. To begin with, serfs were bound to the land and were considered a criminal if, now I don't want to use you, what pronoun would refer back to the serfs? I could use they. To begin with, serfs were bound to the land and were considered a criminal if they tried to leave. Let's go look at my next one. Not only that, the ruler of the land could tell you to do anything and you had no choice. So the ruler of the land could tell you, well, again, it's talking about the serfs. I wonder if I could think of another way to describe what a serf is without saying serf. So a serf kind of serves the same role of a servant. So maybe I could say, not only that, the ruler of the land could tell these servants to do anything, and they had no choice. My next sentence said, as a serf, He is not considered an accepted member of society, so the steward can treat you however he wants. Well, the you here is referring back to Crispin. And so I'm going to use the pronoun that refers to Crispin as could treat him however he wants. In conclusion, I'm going to go back. We're talking about serfs, and because this is my concluding sentence, I think I'm going to use serfs. In conclusion, serfs were mistreated by all the social classes. Now I need to work on my wording here a little bit because it says serf again. In conclusion, serfs were mistreated by all the other social classes in the feudal system. Maybe I just get rid of that part of the sentence so that it makes sense. So what I did is I went through and I made my writing stronger by eliminating all of these different examples of you and substituting them with more specific examples from whatever I'm writing about, in this case, about the Middle Ages. Your next slide has a paragraph that argues that nobles are the most difficult of the social classes. So you're going to go through and do the same thing. You're going to highlight the yous, and then you're going to go back and see if you can change them into something a little bit more specific. When you're done, make sure you submit this so that we can check it.